Welcome to Unleash Your Truth with Angie. I'm so grateful to see everyone here tonight or today. Wherever you're tuning in from, I'm here with my husband, and this is new to us. So we want to talk about today. First of all, let me remind you, this is a place where truth speaks, shame breaks, and healing begins. Your story is safe here, and you are welcome to use this platform to unleash your truth with Angie. So this is my husband, Patrick Hill.
Hello.
He will be helping me discuss about autism today. A lot of people are aware of autism because someone in their family has been dealing with it. For us, it's our grandson, and we want to just talk about how we observe some things. I want you to know what autism is. Autism, and being on the spectrum disorder, is ASD. It's a neurological developmental condition that affects how a person communicates, interacts socially, experiences the world around them. The word spectrums mean, and he may go into a little bit more deeper than this, but the word spectrum means a scale showing how far a person is on that scale to be on the spectrum. So it's used because autism varies widely from person to person. No two journeys are the same. Autism is not an illness or something to be cured. We know God is a healer, but right now we're talking on the terms of sciences and the science of it. And it said it's a different way the brain is wired. Some challenges, we'll get into it because it's telling me some challenges of the speaking, understanding their language, how they make eye contact, and different things like that. But I wanted to start with our grandson, Kagan. We want to talk about Kagan's journey, to introduce some things that we saw. And I'm going to ask you, how old was Kagan when we realized that something was going on?
Well, every child is supposed to you watch or observe to see if they're hitting their milestones in development. You know, they should be doing certain things at certain ages. So at a year old, they should be doing little things, whether it's starting to crawl, walk, just different movements. They may then at 18 months they may start saying words. They might be saying mommy or dada or something. They might not be full, their vocabulary is not full, but they start to say things that you can really understand. And that's what I noticed with Kagan is he started missing his milestones where he wasn't developing. When he got to like a year old, I think he had just started to walk, or it might have been a little bit after that. It might have been somewhere between a year and say 14 months when he actually started walking. Um, and then he wasn't saying anything. He wasn't responding to his name when he got like 18 months. And it just seems like he wasn't hitting any milestones. And that's what started bringing the concern to me. And then I started sharing it with Angie about maybe there's something going on.
Yeah, because I think you would Google stuff and send things to me. So, can you tell what we observed? Pretty much, I know we're going to talk about the observed things that were showing up with Kagan. That
Yeah, I think the kind of back up a little bit is the way Angie was saying, talking about the spectrum. I think a lot of people don't really, they hear the word spectrum, but they don't really understand what that is. You have one end of something and the opposite end. So when you're talking autism, you have the one end is the non to, or I should say, the mild to moderate. And then on the other opposite end, you have, severely or nonverbal.
Mhm.
And we didn't know where Kagan was going to fall on that spectrum. And then at around 2 years old, he started to kind of say some words. But we realized quickly that at that stage that we was going to have to get some, bring in a therapist or a specialist to try to help to see what was going on. But first of all, we had Jazz's mom to have him, take him to get diagnosed to make sure that, what we were thinking, was it that. And once it was confirmed, then that's when we started getting him into some kind of therapy and specialist talking to him. But before I go on, let me back up and say that the first thing was acknowledging it through observation, but we had a difficult time getting everybody on the same page. And we had, I'm just gonna be honest. It took a while for me to get, what I was saying. Nobody really wanted to hear it, and then Angie kind of really started listening to me about maybe there is something going on. But it took a while for his mom to accept that there was something going on, and his dad's side, his Kagan's father's side, it took a long time, and if they've ever really up to now have accepted that he's on a spectrum. So that right there in itself was a hard, um that was difficult for us as a family, because you had half the people, you had a couple of people saying there was something wrong, or they thought, and then you had another half that was like there's nothing wrong, and we over exciting, or we're just making too much out of it. Kids develop at a different time frame, and it's just that it was something that I wanted to doctors or some a specialist to come in and say, hey, no, there's nothing wrong, he's normal, blah blah blah. But they didn't say that. They did say that he needed to come back when he got 2 years old, and they could tell from that whether he was going to be on the spectrum or not.
Yeah, and that was my next question about denial. I feel like a lot of people do deny it, and there were some times that I had to keep Kagan before he started going to ABA school, and I would see him. He would be doing different things. He was starting to hit his head, and I was afraid that he was hitting his head on the ground, and it was like he had no control over, like his anger or stimming. He would get excited. Those are some times he did that, and we had the ice maker, and when he would hear the ice, he would take off running like it was startling him. But when you're dealing with someone with sensory issues, and his is more sensory, um, there's a lot of things. The ears, there's loud noise, and a lot. It's just not Kagan. There's a lot of different ways that people deal with it. It's just so much that I can't just bite off and talk about this because he's grown so quickly after not hearing him talk and pull on me all the time. I was asking Patrick, do you think he's ever gonna start talking? Because it was getting a little later in the day, and my God, he's been going on and on. And then you even recognize verbal stimming.
Yeah, he was just making sounds over and over. He they Once he started to say words, he would just say them three, four, five, 6 times just in a row. 'Cause he would just, it wasn't he would say something one time and just go on. He would just say it like sometimes 7, 8 times before he moved on. And a big thing that we all had to like overcome and try to have a lot of patience was his meltdowns. We had to really that the meltdowns were some of the worst. He would just be screaming for long periods of time, just crying. He would just start as he got old, start throwing stuff in the rooms and just tearing the room completely apart. Uh, he was just destroying a room, and he was sometimes even resort to like self harm, hitting his head on the floor, hitting himself with objects. So that's when we was really really concerned, and I think that's when we had to understand what triggers him. Like there's things that happens uh, that you have to be aware of what triggers those meltdowns. It could be something as simple as he has like he loves his sea animals. He may have 50 sea animals, but if one is missing out of that 50, he knows exactly which one is missing, how it looks, the name, the proper name of it, and everything. And if you don't find that sea animal within a like 10-minute period, he is going to have a serious meltdown.
He
And he's
denies them.
still to this day, he's still kind of we have to kind of try to give him his space and find whatever he needs or he's looking for. We try to quickly find it, and then sometimes we can get him out of a either getting into a meltdown or come out of one. We might have to turn it on something on TV for as a calming music or calming video or some of his favorite animated shows or something like that, and he'll come out of it.
And that was one of the things I was going to talk about too. When he was younger, smaller, we couldn't, when he, if you don't recognize the tantrum or the trigger that Patrick's talking about and nip it in the bud or try to diffuse it, it becomes terrible. I mean, all chaos. And if you can relate to that, if you do have a child, it's not to say every child, because you do have the terrible twos. We was told, oh, he's going through that, he's going through this, and different things, but it's a different type. Like the other day, and he's 4 now, but he got upset because the puzzle won't sit flat on the table, so he got upset. So I do know that there's things that we did to calm him down back then. We can't try that now, but when it's smaller, we would play. It's a is it a spectrum type of YouTube to where you play the
Yeah, they have. You can go in and type in autistic music or videos, and they have all these common type videos and relaxing type of videos. Even in his school, I think they have a sensor or like a if they get like out of get ready to go into some meltdown or get upset, they have a calming room. It's a sensory room or something.
mm-hmm.
It's dark. It's got like colors of different colors and stuff like that, and it calms them down. So
In the water for some reason, even when he was smaller, Patrick had, you had him by the water, it will calm him down. He loves, he also have a blanket that he keeps, and if you can find something, not like, again, everybody is different, but with Kagan and anyone with dealing with sensory issues, it could be catastrophic
hmm
that quick. If something is wet, like if I give Kagan something and I could be messing in the kitchen sink and I hand him a toy, it'll set him off.
yeah,
He would not take it. He'll say, "Why is your hands wet?" Get very angry, and a lot of times I think that gets people don't understand, can get upset, because I know me and I was getting upset with him and a lot of things that he did. If you put on some pants and they're too short or too long, but mainly too short. If the shirt is too short, it is going to set them off. I mean, it has to be, everything has to fit to help Kagan be calmer. And anything that you do, no yelling. But he's getting better now that you can't keep them in a bubble. You have to not isolate them. You need to be with them when they're eating. Don't show a lot of favoritism in any of the children, but don't let them eat by themselves. We found that was the one another thing he did.
yeah. They don't like to be isolated. He likes a group setting. He likes to eat in a like a family setting. He doesn't like to eat by himself. You just gotta be a very observant. I think that was one of the key. A lot of people ask, well, what, how did y'all know? It's just that we were observant of him very early, just watching his patterns. What was he doing on a daily basis? If anything changed, was he doing anything that wasn't normal? Repetitively. So we was watching. One of the first things that caught my eye that was why does he? If you gave him a truck, he wouldn't play with the whole truck. He would just flip the truck over and just spin the
Just the
wheels,
wheels.
just spin them for like 35, 40 minutes straight. He would just spin all the wheels, just watching. He was fascinated by stuff that spin. Like he would look up at the ceiling fan and just watch it for like 15 minutes straight, just going around and around. And that's how he does when they call it stimming. He'll just be in and but it's a thing of joy. When he's
Yeah.
feeling joy or happiness or free, he just stand in the middle of the floor and just go around and around in a circle, just like those wheels or spinning. It's a common mechanism for them. So
Yeah. And I do know that we have 4 TVs in the house. When he was little, we make sure we had the TVs pretty much turned on, something that he would watch and keep him occupied. But never was it a moment that we wasn't working with him one on one in this home, because when he went outside of the home, it's harder to control who and how someone uh took Kagan, because he's very sweet. And I'm not just saying it because he's our grandson, but he's very loving, caring. If I get a boo boo, like, there's so many things that I can say. But I do have some people that's watching that you was talking about and trying to figure out how to what happens with autism. And I know a lady, and she works at the store, at the dollar store, and I'm so fascinated by her son, and we see it now with Kagan, creativity wise. Like, he's 4 now, and he's doing a lot of things. He don't stim as much, but I see him doing the flapping a little bit more.
Yeah. And if your child become, is diagnosed with autism, and like as we go to the different spectrums, and I think people get that they don't understand it. And like I said, it's two different ends of that spectrum. It's a more severe, and then it's slightly the moderate. And Kagan falls into the high functioning autistic
Mhm.
category. He's very smart. He can tell you all the names of different dinosaurs, names that me and Angie can't even pronounce ourselves.
No.
And if we try to say it, and if it's not right, he gonna correct us at 4 years old. And it's just um, their mind is so advanced, and he does things that just kind of make us, we're looking at him in amazement. So you just have to just pay attention and watch little things that your child is doing during development, the development stages. And if it's anything that seems out of the ordinary, just get somebody else involved. Don't take it for granted that, oh, this is what kids do, or this is what, because you could be missing something that could change their life completely. And I think the reason why Kagan is so far advanced now is because of the fact that we were there early to catch it. We even though sometimes we got some resistance or pushback, that we may have been overblowing it, or just something overreacting as grandparents. And it was probably what saved him from really going in a whole nother direction. And now he's enrolled in a different school. He's around more verbal kids,
Hmm.
so his development has really, really taken off.
And going back, also when he was younger, smaller, especially if you have a child that was born around COVID times, they were
Mhm.
very isolated, and then they wasn't around other kids because we were all fearful. But Miss Gracie, is it Grace? I mean Gracie
And Miss Rachel,
and Miss Rachel,
yeah,
they was our best friend. Like, he literally sit there and he got tired of it after a while. So even with that school he was in,
yeah,
he had just got tired of it. The teachers, they was even saying it. You have to challenge them, and Kagan is one that to be challenged. But
yeah. And that's another thing I think that helped a lot too, was when he did his mom Jasmine got him into his first what you got a his first
ABA therapy.
his ABA therapy. They were very good. That's when we really started seeing Kagan start putting sentences together. And they sent a progress report home with him every single day. And in that progress report, they told the things that he done well in, and then
Hmm.
the things that he didn't do so well in. So it kind of gave us a guide of things when he got home to kind of work on those things that he didn't do well, and then reaffirm the ones that he did do well. We kind of made sure that we celebrated and told him he did a great job and stuff like that, to make him feel like, that he was learning, he was doing good. But that was so helpful, because a lot of terms they was using we didn't understand. It had to do with his developing his muscles, his motor skills,
Hmm.
like a lot of things that we just take for granted as kids just grow up and they start being able to catch a baseball, or shoot a basketball, or just catch a ball, or just simple things that kids do. He wasn't able to do it because he had to develop his motor skills. He had to get his eye and hand coordination together. So it was a lot of things. It was a long process just to see him develop, and now it's just amazing to see how far he's come.
And you also want to make sure, because mothers that have children that's not on the spectrum, like me, I was thinking that he could just write. I didn't understand until we went and talked to them
Hmm.
that, like he just explained, that they have to actually teach them to do certain things to strengthen their muscles and their hands. And I mean, it's just simple, and then but it's You have to do that. It's structure to it all.
Yeah, and then the biggest thing is their environment. You have to have them in a structured environment. We noticed that he thrives more in a less chaotic environment. You know, we know what we gave him or what we was giving him was structure. I mean, we sat at the table and ate with him every night. We watched TV with him. We played games with him. We were very involved with him,
Hmm.
and they need that. They want to have that attention and don't want to feel isolated or feel like no one wants to be bothered with them. So you have to really, be aware of what they're doing and just kind of show the interest in what they're doing. You can't, be on the phone and doing other things, and they just doing whatever, because you gotta notice what patterns or whatever that they're going to. If you see him or them start acting differently and they wasn't doing that before, you got to be asking yourself or somebody questions: what happened, what's going on. We noticed one time he was having a problem with washing his hands, and why he didn't
Hmm.
want to go wash his hands, and we figured out that somebody took him to the bathroom at his first school, and evidently the water was too hot, and he never forgot this. So he would just he wouldn't want to wash his hands for the longest until we continued to work with him and tell him that there was a mistake made. And once we got through that, he was fine. But that's one thing about him too is autism. They have a mind that they don't forget anything. Once you tell them something and they learn it, it's there. So
And we would go out to eat, and many people that dealt with Kagan as a child, even his mom, were nervous to take Kagan out to eat. Um, and then we decided, I don't know what made you start with the headphones.
uh I decided to get him some headphones. I think what was for Christmas, I believe. For Christmas or his birthday. I can't remember which holiday it was, but I just thought it would help him focus on what he was watching or what he was trying to watch. Sometimes they get so agitated when a lot of loud talking, or they can't hear what they're trying to listen to. And he could really focus in on what he was listening to. He could get more out of it. From he's not having to worry about side conversations or loud noises, and it just seemed like it worked pretty well. And we now we're seeing more and more kids doing that, parents doing that with their kids. I'm not saying all of them autistic, but they just that's the thing now, having headphones so they can kind of be in their own little world, watching it whatever they watching on their iPads or whatever. So it was a good thing for him. He right now he if he don't see his headphones, he asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a good move for him.
And I also find that when I'm in the stores now, that more people, adults, are identifying or saying that they are on the spectrum or they have autism. Um, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a sin. I mean, when I say sin, it's not like you treat them any different. They're very smart individuals. They're little geniuses, and they've said that there's things that they may not remember the exact timing. But Kagan got this thing where he don't. It's like a biological clock or something. He can remember where he put something or the timing of the day. He know he
Yeah.
got a routine set. Um, and we try to be mindful. It's almost like we have to fit into Kagan's world, if that makes sense. You can't. You have to build your his day according to how he likes it. Now, one time he wanted bubbles in the tub, and then now it was times he have a fit because he don't want bubbles in that tub. It's like he saw something or go through a phase. The eating,
Yeah.
uh, he go through this phase where he won't with chicken. He don't really eat chicken nuggets, but certain foods for a while. Then he
And
might not even want it no more.
and textures. We found out it's certain textures. He don't like the texture of eggs,
Oh no.
like just the feel of them. He don't like this. It's certain things that he don't like. He don't like ketchup on his hamburger. He want to take it off. It's just certain things. Like I said, from sensory. That's like he loves sea animals. But if when he's in the bathtub, he want to play with them. But the opposite end of that is once he's out of the tub,
Yes.
He wants them completely dry. He does not want to have a drop of
So what we
water.
do when he want them dry?
We have to either drown by hand with a towel or get the hair dry out,
And dry them
or
things
sit them
off.
out there in the sun to make sure all the water comes off of them. But he's going to inspect each and every one to make sure that there's no water. He's going to squeeze them, put them up to his
Yep,
face. He's going to try to shake it to make sure there is no water is in those. And if it's any drop of water, he gonna put it back down and say, hey, it ain't basically it's not dry
it's
enough.
not dry. And that's one thing also, just being aware of the things that they, because he can see. So I don't know, we watched a video on YouTube, and I do know that they see. You can go look it up. Do you remember the video?
No, it was just about a young man who grew up autistic, but he was some kind of way he was trying to talk through his eyes of how he saw the world and how he got treated and just the misconceptions about it and how they feel about different things. It's like that's the one big misconception. I think that when you hear autistic, you think that person is nonverbal. They just shaking their head. They off in a corner, and like that's not true. It's like I said. That's why they call it a spectrum. And you have high functioning autistic people and kids, but you also have the ones that's on a severe end. They are
Mm-hmm.
nonverbal. They'll never say anything. They'll never hug their mom. They'll never say mommy or daddy. They'll never say that. So we were in that situation where we didn't know which end of the spectrum he was gonna fall. We just thank God that he was blessed to where he can talk, to the point where some people don't even believe he's autistic or he's on the spectrum because of his high intelligence. But
Mm-hmm.
he still has artistic ways and different things that they don't see, that we see it because we're with him on a lot, or he's with us right now, living with us now. But so you can't have that all autistic kids should act a certain way, because that's not true. It's just that's why they call it a spectrum, because you can have one end and you have another end. And it's just we're fortunate to Kagan is at a point where he can talk and just do everything. Now he can have a whole conversation with you like he's a grown person. I mean, like a adult, I should say.
Yes.
So it's just amazing to see where he started from to where he is right now, and just to see how amazingly smart he is, and just by some of the things he can do that you wouldn't even believe a 4-year old that's autistic could be able to do. So
And I was also talking about, they see. How do they see? Like what?
yeah, their vision is totally different from ours. Where we kind of see things from the out in, they see things from the in out.
Like they
So
see
they
more
see they
details.
see details first. We kind of our focus is kind of wide, and then it come into an object or something. Theirs is opposite to
Mm-hmm.
how they see things. He can see things on a floor, on a rug, that we might need a microscope to see. But that's how detailed he sees it. But then he has trouble seeing clear things, like
Yes.
things like if a clear spoon or fork is on the ground, and if it's like it's on a rug or something, it's hard for him to see because he sees straight through it.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't see the form of it well. His eye coordination and all this is coming along. It's developing more now, but for a while it was hard for him to see things, especially clear things.
And you might want to check yourself, because ain't nothing wrong with them. They just need attention. And for us and the parents and grandparents, every home to be set up according, not to just be, for TVs and all these different things, but the love, to show them the love that they need, the care, and be, talk to the schools and different things. And if they're not able to go to school or whatever the situation is, make sure that you're instilling, and everybody have a support system, every home that they go to, because you don't know what they're allergic to unless you get that done. There's just a lot of things you have to be aware, especially now that he's 4 and he mocks everything as most children do. But I think that's the highlights of it, that men from the eyes of grandparents. And we know that I'll be bringing my daughter in, and she may share some things on the next round. But we wanted to see how we observed and how we saw this firsthand up close. So now when we go places, I'm looking and I'm, it could be an adult, but most of the time, and when I say adult, they're like 20s or whatever, and they share it with us. But even if I hear a child screaming and yelling in the store, and the mother is so embarrassed or whatever it is, whether they're autistic or not, be who you are to that person and that child. Respect them enough that you will allow them to tell you that they need something, even if they fall out on the floor. Because Kagan would give my daughter anxiety, not just her, but me too. But you got anything else you want to say?
I guess the final thing I would say, or my final thought would be, is don't let people just tell you that your kid is bad or he's this or that and he's acting up, he's spoiled, he's rotten or whatever. It could be something really going on with them, and it's our job as parents and as grandparents and adults to take the responsibility to seek out help and see if if I can go take them and let a professional look at him or her and get the proper diagnosis. Because a lot of times I think our children get labeled as bad or whatever, and it's something medically or something that's going on that just hasn't been diagnosed. So that's why it's so important for us to, when we have our children, especially when they're growing up and they're going through them early stages of development, we have to be paying attention and watching and making sure that they are hitting their milestones. If they're not walking when they're a year and a half, or
Mm-hmm.
they're not saying mommy or daddy or saying some kind of speaking some type of words, we need to get them to a professional and get them diagnosed and see if there's something going on. Because the earlier you can get it diagnosed or whatever, the better off
Oh
it can
yeah.
be, and you can get so much help. There's so much help out here now for autistic or autism for
Mm-hmm.
kids, and we just have to just be aware of it. So don't let anybody tell you that your child is a problem kid and he's not being diagnosed, or because it could be that that's what's going on with it.
And that's true. And I wanted to close with that because I do have another friend that has grown up and been in and out of homes because they labeled him as bad because he did things and all he needed was medication and someone to talk to. Um, so yeah, going forward, we'll discuss more. Thank you for joining me.
No problem.
And I thank you for joining me from wherever you are. We thank you. And I want to end with thank you for please watch, share, subscribe to the channel, and upcoming podcasts will be mentioned. And don't forget to look for next week's podcast. This is episode 7, but episode 8 with me, maybe with my daughter. So we would love to say thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your just if there's anything that you need to ask questions, you can also in the comments or even email me at Unleash Your Truth with Angie, and me and Patrick will do our best because there's a lot we left out. For the sake of time, we're going to close. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time, Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. on all platforms except Apple Podcasts and all that. I'm just on Facebook, TikTok. The full version of this would be on YouTube. God bless you and have an amazing day.